Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Mask of the Rose, where I don't feel like we have any particularly strong stuff on the agenda right now. Apparently, there's a thing to be done. We got to go to the Hogsleen Market and buy some stuff, and probably we should get some money. And then also we're helping out with Rachel's novel, and we built the new story already, right? Yeah, we just haven't given it to her. I wonder if she'll pay us for that. Well, in any case, sure, we have lots to do, but why would we get onto that when we could idly daydream instead? Finally, a video game that reflects my experience. Alright, if I concentrate, I can recall Horatia and Grizz talked while the sun didn't rise. We're running a little low here on memories. We have almost remembered everything we remember. They're very sweet creatures, really. I shouldn't have used the word plague. I agreed that bats are harmless and, in fact, a delight to have around on all occasions. Except for the one time. They don't pose a threat. Okay, I have two bat stories. I used to live up north in a small town pretty far away from, like, sort of the southeast part of my state is basically all metro area, right? Detroit's a big city, and it just sort of like spiders out at the edges like big cities do. So the whole southeast part of my state is city, essentially, more or less. I had a job up north, a couple hours up north, where it is mostly farming fields, not so much city. And my friends and I, who were doing the job, and I were living in this old house. It was like 100-year-old house, which I guess there's a lot of people in the audience who are from places that are not America going, that is not an old house. But around here, it's an old house. It was built for like the doctor of the town back in the 1910s, and so it's a very impressive house by 1910 standards, but it had an attic that was, I guess, infested with bats. We were not allowed to go up into the attic. We were renting the house, and the person we were renting it from was adamant that we not enter the attic. But you could hear the bats, and the bats would get into the walls and stuff sometimes. And one time, we went away for the weekend. We came back down to visit family in the city for the weekend, went back up, and found a bat drowned in one of the toilets. That's bad. That's a bad time. That's a bad time for the bat and also literally everyone else involved. The other encounter I had with a bat in that house is one day, one of my roommates' family was actually up visiting. We were talking to his mother in the kitchen, and a bat just wriggled out from under our stove in the middle of the conversation, looking pretty desperate. I imagine it had gotten it gotten into one of those like pressed down, stuck, only way out is through kind of situations. And so it was desperately just trying to free itself from underneath the stove. My friend's mom started screaming, and the poor thing it had no idea what to do. It was in full panic mode. So I went and grabbed a towel from the linen closet real quick and wrapped it up and released it out of doors, and hopefully it was able to find its way back in. They must have had a way, I don't know. Whatever. Once it's out of the kitchen, I decided it wasn't my problem anymore. But it was an adorable bat, I can tell you that. Anyway, those are my bat stories. We had some in the attic of the old house. Too high up for me, but the servants complained. And they didn't like the sound of them rustling around up there. Shouldn't it be sunrise now? The clock fell off the shelf. I don't know what time it is. Yeah, and then the sun didn't rise again forever. Well, I suppose we should head over to Rachel's. Yeah, let's try this. Let's try this new plot. I think she's gonna like this better. Obviously, we will dress for a social calling. I kind of wish, I know that this is like a silly thing because it's just a handful of clicks, but I kind of wish that I could like save an outfit and just like one or two clicks my way back to outfits that I use frequently. I guess though, if you had that option, it would in some way subtly discourage picking outfits that are not on your quick list, right? You would think to check something from the quick list first, and that would discourage the kind of like active consideration that they want you doing every time you come to this screen. Or rather, every time you come to this screen, really. All right, let's try it. It's the best I can do, certainly. It's not a good day for a call, I'm afraid. The master's not feeling his best. I'm sure he'll be in better form tomorrow if you want to visit then. Oh, she promises to tell the family I've visited, but hustles me out again quickly enough. Well, I was here to see Rachel. That didn't take up too much time. Okay. Alright, yeah, that didn't even consume my morning. Well, I appreciate that, I suppose. Bloody hell. Let's take the census with Grizz. I need more census forms, I guess, because I need money. And I am realizing that I didn't necessarily... Grizz knows me from way back. I'm going to go ahead and change, but I feel like it probably doesn't matter with Grizz. The hat's a bit much. Yeah, I mean, Grizz knows who I am. Grizz knows my deal. Grizz appreciates that I'm working on behalf of the ministry. Okay, this'll do. Grizz always likes the sight of the badge. This is like me physically reminding her that I'm doing her a favor. I thought you might still be in the house. Mr. Pages is not an early riser. In fact, he was very put out when I came to the ministry in the morning. Well, I thought I might finish your census form. Mr. Pages already knows all about me. I would have thought it was a better use of time to ask anyone else. But I suppose for completeness, we might as well. It is true that there's a pretty good chance that I'm not going to get paid for this one because it's information Mr. Pages already has. But I'm just gonna ask her about her romantic commitments. I don't think we need to like soft pedal this or make any apologies for it. She understands the deal. The ministry would like to know about any betrothals, marriages, or affairs of passion. Are there any in your past? Please be thorough. Well, I was engaged once. The gentleman wanted a gracious hostess and a mother to his heirs. A very eligible alliance, according to my parents. This is such a fucking, like... The gentleman wanted a mother to his heirs. Like, his heirs are things he already has. He is so entitled to them that they're already possessions. Straight society, I don't know how you do it. I am going to sympathize. Oh, I'm sorry. It's very clear from her tone how that went. Well, I have no regrets. I found my way to the ministry. I would not have come to the attention of Mr. Pages if I were still addressing invitations in my mother's sitting room. Yeah. That's a more interesting story. I want that story. I don't... gosh. The more information we get from her, the more valuable it's going to be to Pages, right? And again, she knows the deal, and if we get too personal, she'll just tell us to back off, right? Before she takes offense? Gosh, I hope so. I'm going to come at this sort of backwards. So, you ended the engagement. I left both the gentleman and my family. That is when I came to Horatia's. Even before the fall, Mrs. Chapman's boarding house attracted those that didn't belong anywhere else. A lady like Grizz could not have lived alone at most respectable establishments, and she would scarcely have cared for the cheaper common lodging places. Yeah, Respectable is this is respectable spoken as invective, which is a tone I'm very familiar with and appreciate a great deal, in fact. Why did you accept the proposal in the first place, then? I could have set him on a political life. She looks as though she might say more, but she thinks better of it. The conversation turns to personal matters and things we still don't know about one another. If you could be rid of one danger from all the dangers the Neath holds, which would you strike out? Well, probably it's the one where I get killed, yeah? The risk of being devoured by something. There's a vast winged beast that haunts the church. Reverend says it comes to choir meeting. It comes to every choir meeting. How about I read all the words? That's a unique approach. Well, I suppose it would at least be a brief misery. But I noticed that London is not full of the remains of devoured Londoners. Well, no, because it eats them whole. She never understood. I don't think we're in this place, no? Right? We're good. We don't need to. Farewell. If you want company, you're always welcome to pay a call. If we can use the term. Morning calls in our own parlor. It's not quite clear who should leave their card with whom. All the same, I welcome companionship. Poor girl has nothing to do in the morning and is so eager to have that time filled. Accept and plan to befriend Grizz. I want to be friends with Grizz. I was a little shaky about her motives here and there, mostly because I don't trust the ministry, but I would like that. I was used to a townhouse full of family and servants before I came here, and guests to dinner most nights of the week. The season would be starting now, or hereabout. Of course, no one now can come up from their estates. Well, she understands our sense of humor, right? There are fewer and fewer people about to speak with. I think the census has not quite proven that. And besides, it's not a very complimentary remark on your part. Yeah, well, I don't like most people. You make it sound as though you and I are the last passengers on Noah's Ark. Oh. Grisella, please. We're not doing that with her, right? It's a friendship. All right, well, if we're waiting until tomorrow to call on the Landaus, then what do we do with the rest of today? I don't want to turn in 2 census forms. We can go ask, what's his face? Can't remember the names of any of the people in my life. We go ask what's his face to introduce us somewhere else, try to get more census forms. No, in fact, I cannot. Harjit, there it is, Harjit. He's not out there. Well, I guess, we haven't really done anything on the South Bank, but there really isn't anything to do. We could call them the Devils. The Devils are always meeting with people. They might be able to introduce us to somebody or give us some kind of interesting task. Do we want to get tied up in whatever? Gosh. Idle hands. Maybe. You know what? Let's go talk to Ferret. No, I know what Ferret. Ferret, we can't talk to Ferret. All we can do is buy stuff. Well, okay. You know what? Here's a place to get some census forms, perhaps. I wonder how Mr. Pages will feel about these. Certainly worth figuring it out. Do I want to come down here wearing the symbol of the ministry? Let's try it. Let's see. At the very least, it'll be information. And again, I don't necessarily want to put on any airs. Ooh, seems less happy to see us than before. Ah, you decided to come back. We took a bet. I said he'd frightened you away. But Tachikon disagreed. But Tachikon makes a series of smug honks. I explained my task as well as I can. Shit, I'm not going to be able to get it. Okay, well, she'll translate. Hopefully. Do flirt with Rubbery Man? Question mark? Probably not. How would I even know if it's going well? I'm going to do this. I'm going to come at this, like, carefully, protectively. There's nothing for you to worry about. You and Barkujin are alone down here? He makes a series of lonely hoots. We are together here alone. The first of his kind in London, and I the last of mine. We make do, as you are fond of saying here. Okay. Are you married? He makes a series of diffident honks. Some seem to indicate Barkujin. He lacks the requisite vocabulary. I believe the rubbery men consider themselves a choir or a chorus. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around in this setting. The word commingling is used. Yeah, is that the one word they know? I hope you do not wish for me to contemplate this subject further. I'm going to lament the lack of commingling in my life to Batachikon directly. Barkujin doesn't actually seem to be all that interested in this conversation. To commingle. Okay. Sutharu, that almost sounded like a word. Ooh. He praises your abstinence. It is a rubbery virtue. Ain't it just? The wiggle of Batachikon's tentacles suggests he praises no such thing. They are kin. The distinction between one and the next dissolves. Memory is shared. Friend, sibling, spouse, ancestor, those terms don't mean to them what they mean to us. I mean, it's interesting. I'm not sure he agrees, really. I think Barkujin may just be making this up. May just be sort of inserting her own understanding. To be many and one. To be many in one. That is a crude understanding. Sutharu. I did not say it was entirely wrong, either. For us, it is as to experience the many while remaining one. For them, it is more permeable. But Tachikon makes a lonely, trilling hoot, as though to say he has been one for too long. And what is the state of your own heart? Do you have a spouse or lover? Write down that there are no alliances worth recording. It will be true enough. Okay. But Tachikon hoots appreciatively and produces a piece of slate. Another tentacle holds a piece of chalk. Barkujin reluctantly takes the chalk and slate while Batachikon gestures. The slate reads, Greeblings. A pause, scribbling. Many greeblings. There's further scribbling. Conveyance of merry greeblings. Today? Requested friend, partner, enemy, Barkujin, essence gather. Yeah, this is what I was getting from their relationship. Commerce barter, merchant dreams, trade coin want. I get commerce barter. You lose me at the merchant dreams part. The things that... Okay. Insisted. He means the market. Requested. Perpetrate commingling. There is further frantic scribbling. Look, look at the look in those eyes. Admixture essences require proceed. Commercially become. The chalk snaps. Frustrating. I hate it when that happens. Oh, for the sake of heaven, I told you this would happen. And it took me days to scrimp up enough to let the wretched woman consider letting me have it. Batachi-kan makes plaintive, plangent honking noises with increased intensity. No, I cannot go and fetch another. If you would have allowed me to translate for myself... We have functioned admirably these last centuries. Why you wish to change the arrangement is beyond me. It's not beyond me, though. I totally get it. Friend/enemy, yeah. No, I could get you some more chalk. That's not a problem. I could fetch more. Batachi-kan makes a hopeful honk. Out of the question. I will not go back to that woman cap in hand. No, but I could go get... I said I would go get it. The chalk always snaps, and Batachi-kan has yet to grasp the fundamentals of your grammar. And your etiquette. Better he receive further instruction from me before we make a second attempt. We sense the city out there is not yet ready for our emergence. Batachi-kan is keen. Too keen. His tentacles are like roots, making for the surface. Yep, that's what roots are known for doing. I have advocated caution. But you are the first personage to encounter us. What do you think? Am I incorrect? Honestly, like, I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting a read here. It does a little bit seem like she's either overprotective or she's using being overprotective as a mask to basically let her keep getting away with, you know, maintaining all of the power in this relationship. She's kind of a bully, right? I don't love it. But it could be just, it doesn't necessarily have to be an intentional power play with like malice aforethought, right? It might just be that she herself is scared and she's sort of letting that manifest all throughout the relationship. I mean, listen, you know what it's like up there? Devils walk the streets of London. Dockers speak of men of clay, too. Ah, I am familiar with both. The devils, well, let us say their neutrality in political matters is not to be believed. Can't trust a centrist. That's true. That's true no matter what world you're in. The claymen are admirable laborers. I discussed philosophy with one as the scriptoria were rebuilt. He called himself unfinished. Seemed finished to me. Perhaps it is a state of perpetual enlightenment. But both groups, you will concur, are more human than our friend Batachi-kan. The problem is that he has a request. He has a purpose to go ahead, to prepare the path. For the others, they wait below. I owe them a debt for my own safeguarding when I left the Fourth to its ruin. This seems like a silly question, but I don't want to assume the worst, so... And who are these others? Friends of yours? They are like and unlike him. Our Batachi-kan is singular. But he represents many waiting in the amber warrens below. They have not always been treated kindly. I, myself, was unkind. When they emerge, they hope Batachi-kan's work will have gone forward. Batachi-kan makes a series of frantic burbles. Oh, for goodness sake. He has something for you. A piece of amber from the vats. I would undertake this task myself, but Batachi-kan fears I will upset someone. Gee, I wonder where he got that idea. A baseless accusation, but since my impeccable service is in question, we would like to ask you. Patachi-kan makes a strangled keening noise. A stall holder. Oh, he wants you to give the amber to someone who owns a place of commerce. Yeah, of course. I'm going to ask what it is first, but I will do it. Ah, you assume I'm familiar with that. Patachi-kan makes a series of sibilant, high-pitched squeaks. Okay? It is... We would say spirit, but it is not that. It is resinous that is attuned to the essence of those it comes into contact with. Like leaving a fingerprint in warm clay. It is how I was found when the city fell. He, remembered me. Yeah, I'll take it. I take the amber in my hand, oddly warm to the touch and clammy. It is important that the amber be delivered to one of a mercantile orientation. I hope you do not mean that dreadful costermonger at the market. I refuse to translate your speech for her. I do not know nearly enough insults in this tongue. Patachi-kan makes a series of indignant honks. Oh, very well. Someone vaguely successful. Don't ask me why. I don't understand it myself. They need to hold the amber. Then bring it back here. Well, now that's curious. Patachi-kan makes a series of frenetic warbling noises. Ah, yes. He wishes you to have one for yourself as well. Huh. A token of rubbery kind and an expression of commitment to the Neath. Yeah, the sort of like tentacle wrapped around it is going to make it pretty obvious to any observer where it's from. Surface? What surface? Now, if you'll find your own way out. I picked up an amusing novel at the market. It is about a very enterprising young lady named Audley. She is full of moral fiber. I am keen to return to it. Yeesh. What is he supposed to do while she's doing that, right? That relationship has a powerful I was going to say power imbalance, which makes powerful kind of a weird word to use to lean into it, but whatever. You know what I mean. Let's go to dinner the way we usually go to dinner. Not a very sophisticated look. Well, I don't know where the others have got to. They do know when supper is served. Good evening. I'm looking for Archibald. Is he here? Archie, he's upstairs. Listen. Yes? I know all the old maps have been outlawed, but if you've come for his atlas, do you think you could leave it with him? It gives him a lot of comfort, remembering all those little villages in Scotland where his family used to live. Yeah. Geez, I don't know. Do I want to be known as someone... Well, you know what? Do I want to be known to Harjit specifically as someone who is willing to disobey, or at least argue for the disobeyance of a ministry law? I think so, right? I think Harjit would have respect for that. Yes, leave Archie his maps. He's not doing any harm with them. That isn't why I'm here. Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to step out of the way then. Seems like maybe not a thing I'm going to be able to help with. Oh, is it to do with his doctoring? I hope no one's too ill. I know Archie worries, trying to do a physician's work when he didn't finish his training. Does he often treat people? I don't like this. Harjit's in full cop mode here. Boy, what do I think is happening? He's been accused of something, yeah? Reassure Harjit that Archie is well enough to treat people is a funny way of taking this. I'm gonna maybe... Here's the thing. I don't know what the law is in fucking 1860s London. Like, I know what I would say to Horatia if this were occurring here in America today. The magic word, the only word that you ever say to a police officer. But I don't know how things work here. And in any case, I don't have the option to tell her to call a lawyer. So maybe we don't answer any questions till you answer some questions. How about that? Maybe we should find out why Harjit is here before we answer any more questions. You may all find yourself assisting in inquiries sooner or later. He did not expect the turn there, but I am distrustful of... First of all, that's a little bit of me leaking through. But secondly, I do think it's consistent for Winnie because, right, she has a particular relationship with the upper classes, and the law is for sure the arm and fist of the upper classes, right? This is the moment that Archie finally comes downstairs himself. Harjit, I hope you're well. I'm sorry, Archibald. I'm here in the line of duty. It's about David Landau. Did something happen to him? I only saw him today. Shortly after your visit, he died by poisoning. Oh. Died. The poor man. Don't react. So I think, like, our Winnie has a very, like, in the presence of someone from the other side, is maybe how we will express it. In the presence of someone who has power or who is an agent of those who have power, she's very, like, controlled, right? It's all got to be ears open, mouth shut. Everything you do is with purpose. Everything you do is toward an end. You cannot relax around these people because they simply have too much power over you. So I think in this situation, with Harjit in cop mode, she is very buttoned up. May he rest peacefully. Well, I'm sorry to have to bring you this news. Is Rachel all right? Is there anyone with her to protect the house? She said you were the last person to speak with David. That the fatal dose must have come from you. Okay, so this is not Harjit. I wonder if this is Harjit's surmise or if Rachel said, I think Archie did it. That's going to really color my feelings on her going forward. I don't understand. There was an inquest, and the jury found against you. I'm here to arrest you for murder. Wait a moment. I knew it was just time till Summit went awry. There's too many folks ill. Can I cure the whole town? Well, hold on now. This must be a misunderstanding. Archie is dedicated to keeping people alive, and I don't see him having the nerve to hurt anyone. Not on purpose. No one can measure another person's courage just by looking. That's a fair... All right. I'm not going to ask if Rachel is all right. So, where are you taking him? Newgate Prison was destroyed in the fall. For the time being, prisoners are held in the HMS Ungulate. Sounds like a very insalubrious environment. Cold, damp, infested with vermin. Breathing the vapors of the Thames. It might not be good for the health of the prisoners. You're not talking your way out that way. No, I mean, if you don't mind, before we set out, I'd like to collect a few doses of this and that. Things that might help to settle bad lungs and prolonged coughs. You're asking whether, before we go, you could be allowed to rearrange your collection of drugs. And bring some of those drugs with you. Well, that isn't quite how I'd have phrased it. When you stand accused of murdering a man through the use of potent toxins. For the sake of your future guards and cellmates, I think I must refuse. I mean, I'm not going to worry about Rachel right now. Rachel and I are going to have some words about this, for sure. We will figure out what her deal is. Horatia, I'll be back as soon as I can. Don't let out my room to anyone else. We won't. Don't fret. We'll get to the bottom of it. Maybe Grizz's high-placed friends at the ministry will come in handy. It'd be a good thing if they did. There's still dinner on the table, but Horatia doesn't have much appetite. Yeah. A foreboding former warship converted into a brooding prison hulk. An ungulate. This is a class of animal, right? I'm going to look it up real quick, because I do not, off the top of my head, know the meaning of the word. An ungulate is a hoofed animal, any animal with a hoof. Large mammals with 2 hooves. The odd-toed ungulates, including horses, rhinoceroses, and tapirs, and even-toed ungulates, including cattle, pigs, giraffe, etc. Okay. Hooved. Yeah, go straight to sleep, I guess. That was a big day. I mean, we need to figure out what happened. Oh, see, this is such a video game thing, though. This is going to fall on me, right? It's going to fall on me to make some kind of defense case for Archie. All right. I mean, I'm up to it. For a moment after waking, I forget what happened last night. Then it comes back to me, the sight of Archie being taken away. Horatia staring at a plate of uneaten pie. The rest of the evening, strange as it was, and then stumbling back to my own bed. There is no mention of Archie's arrest in the morning's newspaper. Huh. I kind of like this. I should focus on saving Archie's neck regardless of the real culprit. I like the implication here that even if Archie's guilty, I figure he did something. Like, there's probably a good reason. Yeah, I'm on Team Archie, for sure. There are a lot of people in town, and they have a variety of interests. If I start looking into the matter now, I can probably find someone to help me. In fact, anyone I approach is likely to have their own solution. Well... interesting. I think it's for my sake. I can't leave Archie to rot, no matter what he did. Loyalty is more than law. More than the claim put on us by strangers. The only question is, what force or persuasion or trickery would put an end to this matter? Prison break feels like a big move. It's true, devils are supposed to be good advocates. Yeah, so it's like, is my strategy here... Gosh, I don't think prison break is the way this character approaches things. She is not a bricks in the street kind of person. I do have the beginnings of influence in government. Do you want to maybe try to go through Mr. Page's? We might have an easier time. Let's try that. Perhaps there's a way through Grizz or the ministry to prevent the trial or intervene on behalf of Archie. I would like to make it not Grizz's problem. I'll try to do it myself. Alright, find someone powerful enough to intervene for Archie. Let's see if there's anything else left to recall here. Well, I can't really remember. I'm out of other memories. I struggle to recall them, and they just float away again. Interesting. I wonder if there will ever be anything in that list again. If stuff can, like, prompt memories, things that happened to us. Well, I guess let's head outside. So I have 2 things on my mind for today. Number 1 is talking to Mr. Pages, both to turn in our census forms and to try to figure out if there's anything that can be done about Archie. And number 2 is trying to have a word with Rachel to see what her deal is. And my feeling is that the earlier we can get to Rachel, the better, before she has time to, you know, sort of solidify a story. I'm going to try to, nope, never mind. I'm not going to try to do that at all. Well then, let's go see Mr. Pages. Continue my seduction of Mr. Pages. He was quite upset with Grizz when she came in the morning, so maybe I don't do that. Maybe we go just see, we go see Archie. See whether Archie needs anything. I'm going to go, I guess, like, I'm going just to provide solidarity, right? I guess that's build my friendship with Archie. Does the lad need anything? Dressed like this, I should only visit the prison hulk with Harjit's escort. The locals might leave me alone, but equally they might decide I look too tasty not to rob. Ah, but what if I went in disguise as a person who's been to prison before? Is that too much? That might be too much. There you go. That's a look. Nobody dares lay hand on the person who dresses this way. I'm going to take the hat off, but I think I actually am going to go the rest of the way here. I'm hoping that the sign of the devils will... but a constable will take one look at the jacket and think I've escaped from prison. I don't know if I have appropriate clothing for this. I don't know. Maybe this is a bad idea. I advertise my infernal connections. I want to make the impression that I am a person not to be meddled with. If I wear the badge, the constables at the very least will the constables at the very least will be on my side, or they'll probably won't hassle me. It looks kind of official. The combination of badge and apron, I look as though I'm distributing food on behalf of the ministry. Maybe that'll do. Might look a little intimidating like this. Shouldn't go anywhere near the prison hulk without Harjit, though. Alright. Maybe some other time. Let me go... You know what? Maybe I should go talk to Harjit, actually. Let's just go outside to Thrall Street. I'm going to take the badge off. Harjit admires duty, but does not always care for the ministry. It's hard to say what impression the badge makes on him. Did they add a bunch of extra text to this, or is it just that your character can give you more of an idea of what's going to happen with people as you get further in the game? I have to say, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of them making the systems more transparent, because like the idea that you should have to think is kind of an important part of this. I don't know. I'm a little... Let's just move forward. Winnie, it's good to see you. Yeah. This is more than a social call. I meant to ask you whether there's anything I can help you with. I was kind of hoping that we could, on the way to that, have a conversation about like exactly what he got from Rachel. I was hoping to do a little information gathering here. It seems like we're not going to be allowed. I look for Lucian everywhere I go. I do not presume to comment. I say nothing. Harjit holds out a tiny photograph, the sort that might be given to a mother or sweetheart when a man goes to war. The sitter has tremendous sideburns and mustaches, both luxuriant and curly, definite brows, a broad forehead of the kind usually associated with intellect. I wish I didn't know stuff like that. And a sensitivity around the eyes, suggesting someone at once dashing and prone to long consideration. Huh. Say nothing until I've had a chance to rack my memories. Tell him truthfully that I recognize the photo. Do I? Wait, is that a person I know? But I'm playing this game over such a long period of time that it's really easy for me to forget stuff that Winnie knows. I mean, if it is the truth, I do feel like I should tell him. I've seen him sometime. I don't remember where. I imagine I saw him in the sunlight, though. So it must have been before the fall. Well, if you remember anything more, or if you see him, please tell me. Alright, we're gonna see. I'm not wild about Harjit throwing Archie in prison, but, you know, if the order came down from someone above him that was what needed to happen, and he didn't have any reason to suspect that it was wrong, I don't know. I still fucking... Ugh. Do I accept I was just following orders? I don't know. If you found your way to the surface, would you come back down here? Or would you count yourself well free of it? Honestly, I kind of like it down here. I wasn't wild about the way things were arranged up top. Love the Neath is strong. I'd come back if there was someone here I loved. I think that all of these are like really, really strong declarations. And I don't know that I feel like we're in any of these spots. I think I'm closer to I love the Neath than I'd never come back. I'm going to press this. Well, I suspect I'm better here than up there. See, this is much more in line with where I think the character is. I know a few who would say that. I might not, myself. I'm gonna let him just talk. I'm curious what's on his mind. Sort of get out of his way. I accompany him around the block and we keep talking. He speaks in a low voice, just loud enough for me to hear, but so that anyone even a few feet further would not make out the words. And he tells me about whatever comes into his mind to mention. When he was young, his father was much involved with the politics of the court in Lahore, and attached to one particular son of the Maharaja. Now, Harjit unpacks their names from his memory, and schools me in their family relationships. This conversation occupies us for a full circuit of the neighborhood. I can just manage another errand today. All right, now we're going to go talk to Mr. Pages. I'm going to provide Mr. Pages with additional census forms. The seduction can come later. We got to get money now. Mr. Pages may expect me to turn up with my ministry badge on. I was fully going to do that. Thank you. Does feel a little patronizing. All right. Mr. Pages watches our arrival intently, gleaning something from the fact we've come together. Surely the ministry can intervene. My friend should not have to stand trial for something so impossible. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting does not attend to the constabulary or the human courts of law. Well, if we don't do something, Archie might be convicted of murder. Permanent murder? Sorry? Is there any other sort of murder? If the dead return, it is not permanent. The deceased is dead and buried and will not be returning. Few newcomers to the Neath achieve a permanent murder. Our congratulatables to him. He didn't do it. Oh. The emergency under Grizz remains obscurated to me. Your friend did not kill anyone, permanently or otherwise, but the Old Bailey is displeased with him. If it finds him to be unguilty, all is well. If it convicts him in error, what will it do? He'll be hanged. From what? That's adorable. From a gibbet by the neck until dead. I don't know if this word is pronounced gibbet or gibbet, actually. Another thing I'm just going to tab out real quick is one of those things that I've seen written many times, but I've never actually heard a person speak because we just don't say, we say, you know, gallows. It looks like it's gibbet. Also, interestingly, the term refers to any instrument of public execution, including like a guillotine or whatever. I've really only heard it used or read it used to refer to like a gallows. Anyway. Discomfortable. Should this eventuation come to pass, we will send him a basket of solace fruits. Mr. Pages, he will be fucking dead. I can push Mr. Pages, or I can try to just be... I could suggest that I'm willing to go over its head. I don't know if that's... I mean, Mr. Pages is probably not in position to make the call, right? I need to be introduced to the person who is. Who does oversee the courts? This is like a question you are meant to ask after it says that it doesn't, right? The Old Bailey is a crown court. It used to rule in the Queen's name. If Her Majesty wishes to commute the sententification, we will not prevent her. Her Majesty hasn't been seen outside the palace since the fall. She'd never grant me a hearing. One must allow for her confusatory situation in being a widow and not widow. Well, she seemed sharp enough when I was presented to her. She must have undergone a very significant decline since. Grizz, I think you are missing... Okay. She has... okay, hold on. Mr. Pages is leaving so much fascinating information on the table, and Grizz is just, like, fully not noticing. Okay. It seems that the constables do the bidding of the ministries. They do, but it is Mr. Fires who watches over them. I do not command constables. Maybe you could just direct me. Possibly we could speak to Mr. Fires in that case? It is not in London at present. Where is he then? It does not inform me of its peregrinations. But you know enough to know where he isn't? Grizz, come on. I have seen the traversal of its dirigible to the roof. I infrared Mr. Fires, therefore, is currently above. Huh. Well, I mean, is there any chance that you could speak with it when it returns? Could you intervene with Mr. Fires? No. It's very important. Mr. Fires has an opinion of non-positive nature regarding my current efforts. Page's voice becomes higher and more agitated. It believes that my activities here are in error. It would not be convinced by my persuasions, and in fact we might effectuate a diminution in the confidence it accentuates to our other plans. Okay, all right. It seems to have reached an impasse, but there are several ways to end matters. I'm going to sort of take Mr. Page's side here. First of all, I don't want to damage our relationship with it. And secondly, I don't necessarily want it to feel like there's anything it needs to... we're going to go around Mr. Pages in this case. Grizz has the wrong idea of what is possible. We will plan some other way of helping our friend. She should not have involved you. Oh, that's a little harsher than I meant it. In difficult times, we explore every avenue. I can tell that I chose the wrong moment. Mr. Pages looks out of sorts. The Undercon is capable of reason. Thank you. It is not said to flatter you. Do you have anything more? Yeah, well, I do have some things. Let's hand over the page about Grizz. I'm curious if it's worth anything. It was. I can take my penny without flinching under its stare. Only one, though. Pages turns the papers over carefully. There's nothing interesting in there, I promise. It's all exactly as I told you before. Expectated. Do you have anything more? I do. How about this one? About my friend Ferret. My good buddy Ferret. One more penny. Pages continues, turning the pages over and going back and forth between them for a long time. Inefficacious, this way of capturing menaces. We have better ways. The Ministry will make them known. Do you have anything more? Yeah, I'm really curious about this one. 1 penny again. Fluxsponikin. It is notable they have advanced so far as the assignment of nomenclature. Do you have anything more? Wow, really? Just not interested? Huh. I thought he was going to have way more to say about the unusualness of... Alright. The trick is not to look at the back of the penny at all. She is a denizen of the previous city. Her arrangements will not be novel. Okay, that is enough of my official duties. So he's not just looking for... It's not just looking for things about romance. It's looking for things about romance that it's not familiar with already. This is an interesting option. If the Ministry has supplies of food, where did those come from? And how many more months will it feed us? The census may provide us with a better understanding of requirements. There are methods of additional acquisition. It is not value official for the people of London to starve. I render my thanks and good wishes to all parties and bow myself out. Yeah, fair enough, I guess. The hallways outside are hushed, except that if I listen closely, there is a sound like something walking with an uneven gait. Its shoes, or perhaps its toenails, click on a polished floor. It's time to go home. Yeah, well, let's do what we usually do in this situation. Feels wrong not having Archie at his seat. We'll have him home again soon. It's not as simple a matter as I hoped, but we'll get to it. Best we eat and not dwell on it. We need our strength if we're to do anything. The vicar's got a new spring in his step. His sermon today was calling for practical action. Said something about faith alone not being enough. Now, I'm no learned doctor of the church, but I feel we had a reformation over this very issue. I do not, in fact, want to chide her for doubting him. I'm not gonna... This feels like not my conversation. My suspicion is Winnie does not have much of an opinion about religion, except that organized religion is, again, sort of a thing of the upper class. Like, it is as much a power structure as the police, right? Indeed. For a moment, no one speaks. And then I help clear the dishes. Give Horatia a hand. Okay, say the same thing as usual. I head up towards my room to sleep when the sound of voices draws me back to the parlor. Oh, interesting. How many centuries? You're looking well for it, I must say. I slept through a significant amount of it. And I'm told resin is an excellent preservative. Well, not every day that I meet someone from Mongolia, let alone also being over 100 years old. Not that I meet many people these days. But I am glad you're not involved in the business in the basement. The cellars are best for wine and arag. Arag? And not connected by doors. I shall bear this in mind. I'll leave you two to it. So, this is where you live. The decor is noisy. I feel an ache of the head coming on. But preferable to noisome caverns dripping with amber. Yeah. Well, can't imagine the roofs will keep out the damp long. This is why you should use copper and marble. Like a real city. But I did not solely come to disparage your inferior village. I wish to talk to you, alone. This seemed the most reasonable means of achieving that. It is Batachikan's request regarding the amber. It is important that the amber is returned, so we may gather the essences. Batachikan is fixated upon the commercial enterprises in the city. I do not mind indulging his whims, but the goal is to effect a peaceable rubbery introduction to Londinium. Nothing more. Okay. Why are you here? You must be worried he won't need you anymore. What do I have to fear? You? Is that your game? To drive a wedge? Your facility with his language is, of course, beginner's luck. Or perhaps better ascribed to his long acquaintance with me. He has learned to better communicate with our kind through my tutelage. Yeah, she is insecure for sure, right? That was a big reaction. So be assured that you may understand him well enough. I am his interpreter. I wonder if it makes sense to keep prodding at this. Because we could just be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I don't know that I want to do this. I don't know that I want to make her feel like it's a competition between her and me. That seems like probably a bad idea. But I think I am going to prod at her a little bit. Well, surely if you mean to introduce the rubbery men to London, all will be able to understand them. You do not know the others. You barely know him. He is of a kin with them, but I think learns faster. The others have slumbered too long, still too attuned to those that dwell even deeper. They will need guidance, molding, help. That is why he went first. And me to guide him, of course. So on his shoulders this enterprise rests. I apologize if I am abrupt with you. But I barely know you, and our acquaintance has not made me desire to know you better. Thus far. Perhaps if you show us you can be trusted with this matter of the amber, then we may have more faith in each other. Okay, so I'm getting a better sense. I was trying to feel out like whether she was just going to react badly to any like loss of control and power in her relationship. And I'm wondering if maybe in fact she is just acting out of insecurity and fear. Maybe this can be okay. And I shall feel less of a need to protect my... Well, I shall intrude no further. Good day. It's so hard to tell someone who is merely hurt and or afraid from someone who is actively abusive. And that's a more or less intentional part of the abuser's cover. but I am leery. I am yet leery of her, but she keeps taking the right step to prevent me from becoming certain, I guess. So that's something. 2 days remain in the season of confessions. Another morning, another newspaper. Grizz bought one, and the headlines read, "Renowned scientist pronounces recent events result of volcanic activity. Sun veiled in ash." Yeah, okay. Alright, I know. People may have additional tasks for me. Well, as ever, two days approximately has gotten us to the hour. Things have begun to occur. Things have really begun to... The game has started to move at a clip all of a sudden. We have lots of problems now. And one among them tremendously severe. When you come back next time, we will be continuing to look for an avenue to help out our friend Archie. And also, trying to keep up with everybody else. We agreed to do a thing for the rubbery men, and... I have no idea how we're going to save Archie, though. Also, I am really curious whether or not he did it. I wonder how we'll even find out. Well, come back next time to see if we make any progress on that particular front, and we'll see you then.